This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview. Joining me on Stockbox today is Rolf Gerritsen, the CEO of MetalNRG. Hi, Rolf. How are you?
Very well. How are you, Mark?
Yes, very good. Thank you, Rolf. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
There's a few things going on with the company at the moment, what with the publishing of the prospectus and some news this week on the participation in an Italian waste-to-energy plant with EQTEC. But before we get into that, I wonder if you can just start by telling us, what is MNRG? You've got oil, you've got gold, and now waste energy. So what is the vision?
Look, first and foremost, we're an investment company. And what we invest in is undervalued asset that offer us upside opportunity, but also offer us an access to revenue. So that's the most important first box that has to be ticked. So we must be able to produce revenue from the assets we invest in a relatively short period of time, and we must see potential for future upside. So that's critical. The second key point is that there are pockets that we're interested in, or call it buckets. Bucket one is, call it energy, and oil and gas fits in energy, as does the waste to energy that we've just announced in partnership with EQTEC. So there's that energy bucket, which is about the transition into green, sustainable production of energy, where I think there's huge opportunities worldwide, and that's why we're interested. And if you go back to one or two of the things I said in the past, is we are firm believers that if you're going to get into that game, you have to change from within. And therefore, oil and gas is a natural fit into and onto the announcement that was made with EQTEC. Gold sits there very nicely because in many ways, as I said, we're looking for revenue producing assets. We're looking for upside, but first and foremost, as I said, we're an investment company. So in some ways, we're also a little opportunistic, but ultimately what I'm looking for is flexibility and adaptability that allows me to generate revenue, which enables us to avoid having to go back to market all the time.
Okay.
So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. So on the RNS this week, then specifically, what can you tell us? Can you give us a high-level overview in your own words?
Yeah, look, here's a plant which was in production in 2009. The mother house, call it, or specifically the Italian energy provider that held and owned the asset, went into bankruptcy. The asset itself did not, but the holding company did, and as a result, it ceased to produce. Having said that, it has a very interesting legacy, and part of that is that EQTEC knows it and knows the technology. Second of all, it has some very favorable connections, and it has some very favorable premium tariffs that are running for the next 7 to 8 years, which makes the financials extremely interesting. And there's an opportunity for us here to step in and led by EQTEC, who are going to be the owner operators, and we're supporting them in partnership with financing, but they're basically applying their technology and taking the plant to its next stage and relinking it, having still the benefit of those premium tariffs that I mentioned and favorable tariffs, which makes it economically a very viable and a very strong story. And that's what we're interested in. When we announced the partnership with EQTEC a few months ago, we said we would start building up a pipeline of potential projects, which were shovel ready. And this is shovel ready. It's going to take us roughly 12 months to get it back into producing the kind of revenues that we'd be looking for from this. And more importantly, EQTEC knows the asset extremely well, and that ticks a number of boxes for us. And therefore, we've decided to contribute and participate in the consortium and drive it forward. So it's one of hopefully many, and it's part of the whole energy play that we're looking at.
Okay. So does the plant already have EQTEC technology in there, or is that part of the commissioning process?
There's some parts of EQTEC's technology, but there are further developments that that are required, that are being updated and refurbished to bring it back up to speed to where it needs to be. And EQTEC will be doing that, and they will be operating the plant going forward. And they're putting certain guarantees in place for us to feel extremely comfortable with this particular investment.
Okay. So you said there you expect it to be online within about 12 months. What is special about EQTEC technology then?
Look, the EQTEC technology is that they have a number of processes which have been tested, and extremely important within that is that they've actually tested a number of different feedstocks. And having done so within a safe environment, they know how each and every technology will react to certain feedstocks. So depending on the feedstock that you insert into the plant, EQTEC has the ability to establish via the benchmark and the tests that they've done the kind of reactions that you're going to get. As a result, they're able to improve the performance of the plant, and therefore you get more hours. And as a result, you are able to improve the financials. So that's where I see some of the key upside in terms of their technology and their expertise.
Okay. And you mentioned their revenue. The RNS also mentions revenue. That's very important. So what is the path to revenue, and when? Do you know?
Look, the next step is for us to sign the final agreements, and then to the EQTEC will get feet on boots on the ground, and they'll start doing the work and recommissioning it. And from there, we reckon about 12 months, maybe a bit less, but 12 months, and the plant will be back online and in production, and that will start producing revenue. There are certain financial parameters that will adhere to an agreement with the consortium, but we would expect to start seeing revenue for MetalNRG probably about 6 months after the commissioning of the plant.
Okay. So this is a good day for MetalNRG, and any further plans to do more things with EQTEC?
Look, I think it's a good day for MetalNRG. One, you mentioned and you referred to it before, we got the prospectus signed off, which put us in a position to draw down on the fundraise. We did a share swap with EQTEC, which gave us £500,000 worth of shares in EQTEC that we can trade if we want to. More importantly, we've now announced this heads of agreement or heads of terms, and look forward to the transaction close. And as I said previously, we're in partnership with EQTEC to build a pipeline. So it's a first step, and hopefully there will be many more based on the pipeline that we're developing together.
Okay. Well, Rolf Gerritsen, the CEO of MetalNRG, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you for listening to this Stockbox interview. For more information, interviews and videos, visit our website at stockboxmedia.com or give us a follow on Twitter by searching @StockboxMedia.